So Belz the Reckoner, a very interesting champion and actually a super unique champion that is a little bit difficult to build, a little bit difficult to kind of figure out what you want to do, but he is actually super powerful. Now, before we get into the builds and talking about him, I just want to quickly show you some of his abilities. So essentially, he's a debuffer and he has one very strong AoE ability that gives leech, and if you attack another character with leech, he has 2 AoE abilities. So real quick, A1 just attacks one enemy, there's a chance to add a debuff, just decrease defense, nothing absolutely crazy here. However, these 2 abilities are really what you should be looking for. So there is the Terra Breach, level 1, attacks all enemies. There's a 75% chance of a block debuff or a leech debuff. Super strong, let me just really quickly show you, like does a whole lot of damage, a ton of damage that it does. However, after this, as you guys can see, I mean, placed leech on a few of these enemies. Now, this can actually synchronize well with other characters depending on your team. However, better yet, it actually synchronizes with him, with his other ability. So let's see, as you guys can see, this guy has the leech, so we attack him, and this is going to turn into an AoE ability, and really, if you build him right, he can wipe out the entire waves. Now, let's real quickly talk about how you want to build him and if this guy is actually good. So super quick, if you guys are new to the game, click my link in the description or scan the QR code that you can see on the screen. This is really the best way you can start the game right now. If you recently started, just create a new account because you will get better stats. You will get Zargala as soon as you complete the tutorial. You will get Ugo at level 15. You'll get a whole bunch of other things like chicken, just food, there's rare books and everything, so this is like a package worth $60. And best of all, if you're a new player, you can go into the promo codes, you can type in, for example, Monkey King, so you will get a legendary Sun Wukong. Or if you don't want him, you can type in Supreme 6, so this is currently like a limited offer where you can get Supreme Gallic. And also, if you guys need a clan, join mine, the Arena Syndicate level 4 right now, TS4A. So we're kind of pushing it. I've started a clan about a month, 2 months ago, so we are making decent progress. Now, let's real quickly talk about Belz the Reckoner, or Belz, I'm not sure on the actual pronunciation. Now, other than the fact that he looks super cool, he is actually a super powerful legendary. So, as I believe people are ranking him A tier, some ranking him S tier. On Hellhates, he's 4 out of 5, so it's not one of the best champions of the game, but a very strong one. And I was actually surprised how good he really was. So here, his abilities might look a little bit confusing. I mean, there's multiple things you can do with him, but essentially he's like an HP, more like a tanky character that has a lot of debuffs, but he can actually do very strong damage. Now, what is very weird about this guy, so he's an HP guy, but he doesn't actually get damage from attack as characters usually do, but his damage is based on HP. So you want to build this guy to be kind of tanky, to have very decent HP and a few other stats. So as I have shown you this right at the start, some of his abilities, but let me really quickly show you the just real quick. So, the Terra Breach attacks all enemies, 75% chance of placing a block buffs, debuff, and a leech debuff for all enemies for 2 turns. So, this is actually very important as well because he gives you 2 debuffs, and his debuffs actually stack with his passive ability, which we'll cover in a bit. However, block buffs can be very strong for PvP as well, like this guy can be used for PvP. Also, fills this champion's turn meter for 5% for each debuff. Nothing crazy with the turn meter thing, but just check out his passive. So, the only thing is you gotta ascend him, I believe it's to rank 4 to be able to actually get this ability. However, his max HP increases and critical damage by 5%, so this can get up to 50%, which is huge for each debuff placed by this champion. Now, if you guys got a 75% chance with critical rate, so you got block buffs, you got the leech, and you got the cooldowns here, like you can place this really quickly. His A1 also he has a 50% chance of placing a decreased defense debuff, so he can actually place a lot of debuffs. And yeah, let me really quickly show you the second ability, which is actually synergizes very well with the last ability. So, Gift of Pain. Attacks one enemy before attacking, steals all buffs from the target. Will repeat the attack against all enemies if the initial target is under a leech debuff. So, the only really big problem about this, and this is really a problem with a lot of legendaries. Now, some characters are more dependent on books than others, but here this guy can be very useful, but books do make a pretty big difference. This is on a 4-turn cooldown. If you get the books, this will be on a 3-turn cooldown, which synchronizes better if this is on 3 turns as well. So it can be very useful. Like, this is not one of those crazy like cooldowns that some champions usually have, but this is a pretty big difference. And the only problem with legendary champions, especially medical champions, I don't have any medical champions right now, is the fact that the books are very expensive, so super hard to come by. Now, his aura is actually excellent. As you guys can see, it increases accuracy by 60. This can be amazing, especially if you got characters like the Geomancer that is very dependent on accuracy. So if you synergize this guy with this guy, very good. I think Sekia Flame Tank is the only one that I have that currently has this aura, which is very strong. In terms of the masteries, you probably can't see it from my camera here, but this is just like a general PvE build that I took of Hellhates. I managed to essentially wrap up the entire thing. I mean, it's not one of those characters that's super dependent on masteries, but of course they can always help. The only problem is I don't have any blessings, so I didn't awaken him. Now, here this gets kind of tricky. So this is really kind of depends on what you want to do and how you want to use him. So Hellhates actually points that you want to build this with crit rate, crit damage. I actually did that, but there are other builds where you really want to build HP and you also want to build accuracy. So as you can see, I mean, I went very far with just a critical rate, the crit damage. So very good crit damage, very good crit rate. This can work really well with some of his abilities. It kind of synergizes well. But if I would build him again, and I probably might do it later down the line, I would increase his accuracy, which is very important. And you can also increase his speed as well. Now, this kind of really depends on what you want to do. So let me really quickly show you. I mean, some builds are showing that you want to go with Savage, which ignores defense by 25%. I don't think this is the craziest build that you really want to do. However, you can actually use like HP sets, and I believe it also you can use Merciless and Perception. You know, this is always the good ability. Now, ideally, I would want to build more accuracy. Unfortunately, I've leveled everything up here, and none of these really have accuracy stats other than this one, so I'm kind of cooked here. I probably will have to replace like 2 sets out of this, because, you know, without accuracy, this guy is not probably going to give the debuffs, especially if you get to stronger levels. So this is going to be a bit of a problem, which is not really going to work very well for his strategy. Now, as I said, I mean, you also, like, if you got good crit rate, crit damage, you can actually do a lot, as you guys could see in that Doom Tower. I'm not certain what level it was, but it wasn't the start. I mean, he hits pretty hard. Like, if you synergize this ability with this ability, like, he can destroy entire waves, and he can be very used for bosses. But, once again, I mean, you gotta synergize it with other characters, like, if you... kind of depends on the teams you got going on. However, I would increase his accuracy just so he can actually place the debuffs. And also, HP is very important. Like, you just keep in mind, when you go to his abilities, all of his damage is based on HP. This is based on HP. This is based on HP. So, the stronger he gets, the more damage he is going to do. So, you don't really want to focus too much on one single set. You essentially want to make him a little bit versatile. So you want crit rate, crit damage, accuracy, speed, HP. It doesn't have to be all in. For example, with some characters like the Geomancer, you kind of want to go all in on accuracy just so he can place it. So with Geomancer, you want to go all speed, you want to go all accuracy just so he can place his ability that is going to work because he's based on this entire ability. With this guy, you kind of want to build a bit more generally. You don't want to focus on one single stat. However, overall, I mean, as you guys can see by rank, he's currently one of my strongest characters. Very fun to play. This is currently my strongest orc character, so I'm kind of waiting for the faction wars right now to open because I really want to push the faction wars. I think I'm really behind on faction wars with the orcs. Now, if you guys are new to the game or if you recently started playing, I'd urge you to click my link in the description or scan the QR code because you will get the best start possible that you can get right now in April 2025. You will get Zergala as soon as you complete the tutorial. You will get Ugo at level 15. Then best of all, if you're a new player, you can go into the promo codes. You can use some of these starter promo codes like Monkey King, so you will get Son of Wukong. If you don't want him, you can use Supreme 6, so you will get Supreme Gallic. And you can also go on Google, find more like these starter codes, because you can use one. Now, also, if you guys are in need of a clan, join mine, the Arena Syndicate TS4A. We're still active, pushing very hard, we're doing really well. So, thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next video.